Every Monday night, you're checking out Breakfast Soup Raw.
Enjoy as Don Tony spills the soup about pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Soup Raw.
Breakfast Soup Raw.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
Much love, everyone. The last Monday Night Raw for 2021. Nor rain, no sleet, nor snow. I am always here, so let's freaking go. It is Monday night, December 27th, 2021. Welcome to Breakfast Soup Raw. I am Don Tony. I am here solo tonight because Mish is under the weather. So best wishes go out to Mish. I hope he's feeling better, buddy. And I hope you stick around for a little while. We got some interesting stuff to get into. Little Raw recap. Some news. Yeah, let me just say this right at the beginning. You know, in storyline, you mean to tell me after all these years that whether it's Miz or Maryse or you or me or Wrath, anyone out there, you mean to tell me that if you're standing in the middle of a ring and all of a sudden you hear, I'd be like, I'm getting the freak out of this ring. They just stand there. I know it's supposed to be an all good fun. And as you see, we cannot use the color of blood anymore because this is now PG entertainment. That's why, like I say, you know, all these people out there that keep, you know, comparing the AEW formula with WWE. AEW is TV-14. It's not meant for younger viewers. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, come on, DT. It's 2021. A lot of parents let their kids watch AEW. And yeah, I agree. If I was a kid, I'd want to watch AEW too. But the fact of the matter is, you know, when people say, oh, AEW, 18 to 49 demographic. Yeah, well, WWE is trying to be family friendly as well. So they're actually going for a demographic that AEW is not. But I thought this was a decent Raw under the circumstances. Obviously, some wrestlers were not present. And I want to open up a continuation of the conversation that you all and I had last night. And believe me when I tell you, anybody that tunes in, you should know by now that I don't pander. I don't kiss ass. I lose viewers. I lose popularity because being honest, giving you facts is very boring. But I got to be honest with you. What has gone down in the last 24 hours with Seth Rollins is more of an eye-opener than you could ever imagine. And I know a lot of you out there are now seeing it. If you did not get the opportunity yet to check out last night's show, when I go like this on the replay, a link will pop up and you could check out. I put timestamps for last night's show, timestamps all across. We talked about Seth Rollins testing positive for COVID. We ended up having a nice little conversation about it. We also talked about numerous wrestlers that were taken off the WWE house shows yesterday in Tampa, Florida, and in New York City. And if anybody out there did not tune into yesterday's show, number one, the first thing I said more than anything is that you do not know if Seth Rollins caught COVID in the last day or two, or maybe he caught it last Monday, last Tuesday, last Wednesday. If it's Omicron, it's 1 to 2 days. to get infected, and it's a couple of more days. To be clear, my niece caught COVID Christmas holiday. My fiance's nephew caught COVID Christmas holiday. In 3 days, they had tests done and they were no longer infected. So you got to look at this scenario, and immediately prayers for Seth, prayers for Seth, prayers for Seth. Oh my God, he's got COVID. And then you saw the disgusting antics by so many websites and so many shows out there. Roman Reigns pulled from the WWE house show. COVID. Becky Lynch, COVID, period. Big E, COVID. Every single person that was pulled from the house shows, COVID, without any facts, just because they wanted to get hits and attention. And the worst part about it is, a lot of it is common sense. We got WWE Day 1 happening this Saturday. So what does WWE do? They pull wrestlers that are in high-profile matches for Day 1. The wrestlers who were pulled from the house shows over the weekend, I got it here. Let me just pull it up. They removed, where is it? I'm going through my notes. Okay, I got it. They removed from the Smackdown house show in Tampa, Florida, Roman Reigns, Xavier Woods, Shinsuke Nakamura, all in important matches for Day 1. In Madison Square Garden, the wrestlers that were pulled were Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Zelina Vega, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, and Big E. Now, first thing I said yesterday is that the only person that we are sure that got COVID was Seth Rollins. Do not jump the gun. Unless they tell you themselves, or unless WWE tells you, which they won't, the wrestlers themselves would say it, don't jump the gun. And all I saw today was everybody jumping the gun. And then the worst part more than anything, and I don't want to sit here and give everybody a little education lesson here, but this is what I mean when I say that reporters out there, there's no one out there to take their credentials away. The only way that credentials get taken away is if you stop following them, stop viewing them, stop listening to them, stop reading them. When you got dirtbag lowlifes like Brad Shepard that could do what he does, and he has the right to do it, but that just goes to show you, in any other profession, it's usually regulated and people get canned and everything like that. It is so reckless and dangerous to see. And I've been on the net since it began. I've been on the internet since the early 90s when it was mostly just chats. And in all the years, I have never seen on this wide of a scale the disgusting, intentional, deliberate behavior by people because they hate WWE. They know misery loves company, and they know that they could say whatever they want. Nobody is going to stop it, and a lot of people prefer it. I watched today, okay? Here's a little screenshot. I took the OSHA class twice. Now, anybody that's been a long-time listener on my shows heard me talk about taking OSHA a couple of years ago. And I had it done again because of all the changes and with COVID and everything else. I didn't do it just for me. I did it for my dad. I did it for my brother. I did it so they're aware as far as all the changes that need to be done. And there is something, and I'll give you the exact term, it's called the OSHA vaccine mandate for large businesses, okay? And this is going to sum it up. The OSHA vaccine mandate for large businesses. Large businesses, over 100 employees, their employees need to be vaccinated. You can also institute a mask mandate where everybody needs to be masked, and you can do testing. But the normal mandate under this is vaccination. WWE, it was reported today that WWE has announced they have stopped testing the roster and employees for COVID. That is so reckless to say it like that, because what happens? You now have 1 million tweets and 1 million posts from people out there. Oh my God, their biggest star, Roman Reigns, immunocompromised. How could you stop testing? We're in the middle of a pandemic. How could you do this? I could do that. Fact of the matter is, WWE, the employees, the roster is supposed to be vaccinated. This is what the OSHA vaccine mandate for large businesses is. It doesn't matter if it's an entertainment company, a printing company, a computer company, an oil company, an office firm, a bodega with over 100 employees. WWE took that route that employees need to be vaccinated. Not only that, the CDC today announced that the number of days to be quarantined if you get diagnosed with COVID is now been reduced from 10 to 5. In addition, and I want to read you a quote because no one else is going to read this to you. Get a load of this. This is so freaking important with the Seth Rollins, with the WWE, and I will always show you the respect to give you the information straight up. This is straight from CDC. Listen to this closely. If you were, this will factor in Seth Rollins, if you were fully vaccinated with Pfizer or Moderna within the last 6 months, or you completed the primary series of Johnson & Johnson within the last 2 months, you do not need to be quarantined after being exposed to COVID. But they recommend you wear a mask following the exposure. Did you hear what I just said? If WWE's employees and their wrestlers are vaccinated, there's no reason to do weekly testing. If someone is showing symptoms, of course they're going to be tested. Here's a fact. Every year, and remember, I totally respect any of you out there that either want to be vaccinated or don't want to be vaccinated. It's your choice. Every year, between 9 and 40 million people each year get the flu. In the United States, I believe there's 50 million people who have been diagnosed with COVID. Flu, between 9 and 40 million a year. Omicron is still serious. If you have underlying conditions, if you have heart issue, if you're overweight, if you have diabetes, if you have any type of lung disorder, anything, of course, getting it could kill you. The flu could kill you. A lot of illnesses could kill you. Everybody today makes it sound like that if people show up at WWE and they're coughing up a lung and they got a fever and everything like that, that WWE's going to be like, suck it up. Go out there. You're a wrestler. You're not a wimp. It's bullshit. People get sick. They don't work. They don't compete. CDC, this is the OSHA vaccine mandate. WWE is following the CDC guidelines. I am not defending WWE, but if you saw what went on today, it is disgusting. And here's the worst part. I don't know the guy's name. He's a New York Times best-selling author, as he claims. And I'm not doubting that he is or, at all. All I did today was post online that WWE is just following the OSHA vaccine mandate. And the guy's accusing me of twisting it to fit a certain narrative, and it's about Vince. And I'm like, the fuck you talking about? And I promised I wasn't going to curse tonight, but I was like, what are you talking about? I'm just putting the information out there. I don't care who's vaccinated, who's not in WWE. It's none of my business. But simply because of posting facts out there, I'm twisting something. Now, this is where it gets so disgusting. You know, I know a bunch of shows who follow me on social media. I put it out there. I took the OSHA class. I sat through 30 hours of learning all the safety and everything like that. I run an insurance business. I do health insurance. I'm not saying it to brag, but I know how everything is. Most of these people they're gaming. They're gaming. They don't know squat. So today, after putting it up, I saw at least 2 shows that I used to respect. 2 shows that read what I posted. And what did they do? Immediately after, WWE's stopping COVID testing? Are they nuts in the middle of a pandemic with Roman Reigns immunocompromised? What did they say? Are they going to go around and since they don't have to test anybody, everybody could be working under COVID, and since they're not testing, that they get away with it? This is what you got today. This is why, and like I said earlier, I don't pander to all of you ever. I'm appreciative and I'm humble. But I am so proud of the conversation we had last night because I said that it is very possible that Seth Rollins could have been hit with Omicron. It could have been happened 4, 5, 6 days ago, and he may not show any symptoms. How many times have you seen or read online somebody famous that is diagnosed with COVID? I didn't even know I had it. This is Seth Rollins from today. In his house, obviously, with some iPhone video for Raw. Seth Rollins, good to go for WWE Day 1. Here's another little tidbit that a lot of you may not have thought about. These wrestlers outside of house shows wrestle once a week. You exclude house shows and pay-per-views once a week. Let's just say somebody catches COVID at Raw today. Somebody catches COVID, Omicron. Since Omicron is like 90% of all the infections right now. A couple of people get hit with Omicron at Raw tonight. Well, if there's no house show or pay-per-view coming up and they don't have any matches, next Monday is 7 days. When you follow the CDC guidelines, 7 days, they're good to go. As long as they test negative, as long as they're no longer infected, as long as they don't have any symptoms. This is $1 billion company we're talking about. And again, I'm not defending them. This is $1 billion company we're talking about. They have state athletic commissions. They have doctors on the premises. The last thing WWE wants is somebody to drop dead in the middle of the ring. You know, so for people out there to just think that WWE is just doing all this stuff to get away with stuff, come on. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. And yesterday, we finished up the conversation by saying that there may be no changes to Day 1, that everything will be fine. Do not jump the gun and assume that everybody that was pulled from the house shows got COVID. This was precaution. This pay-per-view is important. It's not just the ticket sales. It's not just the pay-per-view. This is a pay-per-view. It's important. There's some major storylines going down. So if Becky Lynch is not infected, all right, you know what? Look, stay home for this Raw. You know, you rest, you stay by yourself. 5 days from now, you got Day 1. Even if she showed signs of 5 days ago, she'll be good to go for Saturday. Wrestlers who are not positive right now. Hey, Brock, you know, look, you that's what it is. Roman Reigns, especially Roman Reigns. Remember what we said last night about Roman Reigns? Look, Roman Reigns especially with how catchy this is. This might be a situation where you have to really keep him away from the regular roster, and he may just have to show up just to take on Brock and then leave. I mean, this should not have been controversial today. But again, everybody's got to get attention. Everybody's got to get hits. Everybody that doesn't like WWE has to use this against him. Everybody immediately, Seth Rollins. See, this is what disturbed me more than anything today. You realize now how many people that are not educated about COVID, they have no idea as the difference between quarantine and or being infected or asymptomatic. I mean, they don't even understand the time frame. You saw people that because Seth got COVID, prayers, Seth. They don't even know what the hell is going on. It's mind-boggling to see after almost 2 years of COVID that people out there still don't even understand, what the incubation process is. COVID, when it comes to Omicron, takes 1 to 2 days to wreak its ugly head. In 1 to 2 days, if you got fever or something else, you have it. 2 to 3 days later, you should be good. If you've been freaking vaccinated, this was CDC today. If you are vaccinated, you're not required to quarantine. Did anybody out there even know that today? So Seth Rollins should be good to go for day one. Now, I also heard that WWE obviously taking some people off the shows to be careful that if anybody else tested positive, if they don't feel up to it on Saturday, they will not wrestle. But they're not false advertising. There's no way Seth's going to be on, and they're just making people think that. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. I tell you, it was so depressing and frustrating to see what I saw in the last 24 hours. Why is it that you and I last night got everything right once again, and they got it so wrong? And again, even with the WWE stopping COVID testing, if everybody there is vaccinated, the testing is not required. That's CDC vaccine, OSHA vaccine mandate. Those are the guidelines. I had some guy say to me today, oh, there are people that are unvaccinated. Well, fucking report them then. If you're sure, report them. Am I wrong? So it's ridiculous what we saw today. But the good news is that Seth Rollins is now past the stage of infection. Seth Rollins, will get another PCR test done. And as long as it remains negative, he will be good to go for Saturday. And that is awesome. That is awesome. And a lot of the matches were advertised again today. Not everybody was there, obviously, for precaution. There's no controversy here. There's no I'm not putting no clickbait titles or anything like that. Last night, just out of fun, after the show was over, I went on YouTube. I said, let's see how many schmucks out there that immediately teased that Roman Reigns got COVID. And it's mind-boggling. And you know what's the worst part about it? 100,000 views, 50,000 views, one channel with over 1 million subscribers. And I'm saying to myself, I would be so disrespected if I invested time in someone, anybody, and they're just feeding me intentional lies. Why do so many people want to be lied to? I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. So anyway, so the good news is Seth Rollins is okay. And I'm sorry for taking 20 minutes to go over this, but it's obviously a very serious thing. not only did I want to explain Seth Rollins, but I wanted you to understand a little bit about the testing and why vaccinations are required. This is a nationwide thing. This is not just one area. Any big company does this. Don't compare it to the NFL. Why? Because they're both sports. It doesn't work that way. There isn't a vaccine mandate for sports companies and movie companies and libraries and gas stations. No, it's one mandate for everybody. And WWE is following the guidelines. Here's something you probably don't even know either. WWE is forcing everybody behind the scenes to wear masks. No exceptions other than eating and drinking. If you are caught without a mask, you are fined. And I know what you're going to say. And sure, I'm sure some people, will probably skate it. But this is something that they're doing also. Nobody talks about it because that's a positive thing. Look, the last thing WWE wants, the last thing AEW wants, Ring of Honor, can't put them in the category anymore, but the last Impact Wrestling, MLW, or anybody else wants right now is one of their major stars to get ill and get struck down with COVID and get, seriously ill over it. When people get vaccinated and it's a mandate, it's the CDC and the government, it's their view that this is helping people. Now, there is scientific facts that if you are vaccinated, that you have some protection in you, natural immunity as well. Here, for every one of you out there, and we'll move on right now, but every one of you out there that does not believe in vaccines, I'm going to say something right now that is on your side. Do you know, in my opinion, one major flaw is with vaccine mandates right now? One major flaw. What do you do about someone that had COVID already, maybe more than once, gets blood test, and they are chock full of antibodies? I mean, when you do get your blood work done, it does test your level of antibodies. I've had 3 shots already. I got the booster in August when it was double the medicine. And it's already 4 months since I got the 3rd dose. People are telling me, are you going for the 4th? I'm going to my doctor first to get blood work done to see what my level of antibodies are. If my antibodies are going down, I'm going for the 4th shot. But my point is, if any of you out there that have never been vaccinated, if you had COVID and you have a boatload of antibodies in your blood, why are you forced to be vaccinated? That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. And that is something, for some reason, they don't want to address. So believe me, for some of you out there, because there's quite a few of you out there that have been struck with COVID and beat it, you have the antibodies. So why you are being forced to vaccinate, I'll never understand. But the fact of the matter is, WWE is following the CDC guidelines. And I'll bring up the stock market again. Until those billionaire, millionaire stockholders confront WWE and say, hey, listen, why did you stop testing your employees? Not one of them will do it. You know why? Because they know the OSHA vaccine mandate. Most of these people online, they game, they tweet, they whack off all day long. They don't bother. It just blows me away. This is why I always have real talk with all of you on my shows. I have eliminated the politics as much as I could, but this is why I always have real talk, because you got to understand and be aware of what's going on. So when bullshit like this comes out with the Seth Rollins stuff and the COVID testing with WWE, you are already aware. Like, hey, that's not true. But again, the truth is boring. The truth is not popular. And it just, nobody, I didn't see anybody step up today and say, hey, wait a minute. as much as we don't like the storylines and creative sucks and Pritchard sucks and Vince sucks, he's too old and blah, 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 nobody. And I also got to give a special shout out to Tommy D. DT, watched your Sunday show. You were spot on about the WWE COVID news. Clickbaiters are out in full force. They said Reigns got it, Becky got it, Big E got it. You said Rollins may now be okay for day one. Thank you for always being straight with us. You take the time to tune into my shows, whether it's live replay, a week later, 5 days later. I owe it to you to not lie to your face. I owe it to you to be straight up. And yes, sometimes reporting the facts are quite boring. We can make it sexy. We can make it very sexy and get a lot more attention. But at the end of the day, I don't want anybody to come back to me and be like, DT, that's fucked up, man. How could you say all this stuff and you knew what the facts were? I'm not interested in that. So shout out to AS7607. I will email you tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to go through my emails today. I was supposed to get x-rays today, and they postponed it to tomorrow. So today was just a little bit nuts, but much love to you. I hope you're doing well. So shout out to you. By the way, I hope everybody is having a great holiday. In a couple of moments, I'm not going to make you wait. In a couple of moments, we're going to pick the winners of the Undertaker photo from last week, the Steve Austin photo from last week, and I will pick the 10 CM Punk AEW Upper Deck cards. So we're going to pick 12 prizes in a few minutes. It will be live, and you do not have to stay on to claim your prize. You got to do it within a week. After a week, I got to give it to somebody else. Now, I'm going to talk about Marcus Crane in a few moments. I know some of you definitely remember him, GCW death matches. Want to talk a little bit about Raw because I know that's the majority of why you're here. Kenny Salerno, welcome to the family, my friend. Kenny Salerno, much love. Raw tonight, first of all, main event results. T-Bar over Mark Andrews and Veer Mahan. Yes, he wrestled on main event tonight. He beat Shelton Benjamin. Veer Mahan. Tell you, the more I'm seeing this trolling with WWE, the more I'm thinking Veer Mahan may end up being a babyface out of this. Serious. I don't know how they're going to do it, but who knows? Who knows? But those are your main event results for today. Monday Night Raw. Look, Vince McMahon was not there today. That's why we had no segments with Austin Theory. Adam Pearce was not there. A lot of officials behind the scenes were not there. They did have quite a few cases of COVID. I want to make that clear. Yesterday, I told you that there are a few people who work behind the scenes in WWE did get hit with COVID, and they have revealed it publicly. You want to go check out their social media accounts to figure out who it is, go right ahead. But because the pay-per-view this Saturday, they're just being careful. Vince McMahon, Adam Pearce, tonight, John Laurinaitis did most of running Raw. So tonight, Johnny Laurinaitis, bit the bullet, and he did the show, and they kept Adam Pearce and Vince. And like I said, if you look at the wrestlers that were pulled off the house shows, every wrestler is in a high-profile match for day one. Every single one. Can you imagine if they didn't pull them and they would have got hit with COVID? You realize like 90% of the matches would have been screwed. So WWE, to be really careful, look, we're not taking no chances. You pull them off the show. Roman Reigns, remember, and this is something I think you all need to remember too. This is probably most important about SmackDown. This is strictly SmackDown. SmackDown was taped the week before. SmackDown hasn't had a show since the 17th of December. I don't know if they had a house show that weekend, but right around the 17th of December is the last time SmackDown was live. They taped Christmas Eves. So if anybody on that SmackDown roster got hit with COVID, day one is January 1st. That is 14 days. after that Smackdown episode. So you're not taking any chances. Roman Reigns is not. I think they did have a house show that Saturday. So even the 18th, 13 days apart. That is why they did what they did. There was no controversy. And I'm sure one or two of those wrestlers, I've heard at least one or two of them that they believe got hit with COVID. But let's hope that it's Omicron. Let's hope that it happened many days ago and by now no longer infected, and they could now focus on the pay-per-view. Now, we don't know if Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley versus Queen Zelina and Carmella will happen at day one. We know there's going to be a rematch. We know the storyline progression with Nikki and Rhea Ripley. I don't think this match will happen at day one, even if it's a pre-show. It could. What also could happen is they could have one or two matches on standby in case a match has to be taken off. Remember this. This is only Monday. You know, you got the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, and New Year's Eve still to come. Somebody could get COVID in those 4 days. Somebody could have gotten it yesterday, hanging out with friends, watching football. Somebody could have gotten it Christmas Day, which was only 2 days ago. It takes 1 to 2 days for you to start getting the symptoms. So let's make this clear. There's no guarantee that every match is going to happen because somebody could still get COVID and they're out. They're out. That's why Bobby Lashley, I ain't going anywhere near anybody till Saturday. Kevin Owens, hey, he worked. Some people have to work, obviously. Kevin Owens, he face-to-face with Edge, with the others. They were tested earlier today. You know, and here's another thing, too, about testing, all right? I went on Amazon and I ordered 12 COVID tests. I ordered 2 for me, 2 for my fiance, 4 for my parents because they're older, 4 for her parents. I ordered 12 tests. I ordered 6 and 6. I don't have to get tested. I run my own business. I only have 2 employees. I don't have to get tested. Some of these wrestlers, if they don't feel well, especially if they're married or dating and have kids, I mean, just because WWE is not testing anymore doesn't mean that if somebody that wrestles for them doesn't feel well, doesn't mean that they're not going to go to Walgreens and pick up a test, say, hey, you know what, let me get tested. Or, you know what, let me go to the doctor and get tested. I don't feel right. I want to make sure I don't have it. You know, people make it sound like because WWE is not testing that nobody's going to get a test. Well, I don't have to get it tested. But you got 102 fever and you're coughing and your throat hurts and you feel like shit. You feel beat up. Oh, but I don't have to get tested. Do you know anybody that's going to do that? We're not talking vaccine. We're talking about tested. All right. Tonight on Raw, Detroit, Michigan. Obviously, the focus tonight was the renewing of the wedding vows with Miz and Maryse. I honestly thought we were going to get an appearance by Beth Phoenix. I mean, you knew that we were going to get bullshit with this wedding. And I'm just putting my timestamps if you see me looking down. Bish. I got to put Bish. Why am I saying Bish? Not that Maryse is a Bish. No, we had a cameo today. And man, I wish that would have started at 10:57 p.m. We only have 3 minutes left. Eric Bischoff, recently seen on a couple of AEW shows. Eric Bischoff makes an appearance. He's going to be the officiator or the officiator of the renewing of the wedding vows. Now, yeah, unfortunately, God rest his soul, can't have Rosie and Jamal. But if anybody remembers 3 minute warning, did I say 3 minutes? That was freaking awesome, man. When Bischoff was under the makeup, oh, that was awesome. So you knew that Edge was going to get involved in this segment today. It was going to close out Raw. I honestly thought we were going to get Beth Phoenix. We did not get Beth Phoenix, but Edge versus Miz, high-profile match for this Saturday. Now, in case anybody is interested, because I have them here, for those that are curious what the house show results were because of the changes, I'll give them to you right now. Because look, I told you about some people that got sent home. That doesn't mean that everybody else that's on the pay-per-view had to wrestle those nights, but most of them did. So if you're wondering if anybody else was not on the show and was never advertised that you might be concerned about, the show in Tampa, Florida, they got Kofi Kingston over Sami Zayn, Xia Li over Shotzi Blackheart, Ridge Holland over Mansoor. The Usos retain the SmackDown tag titles, beating Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Yes, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre teamed up. That just goes to show you, we just had this conversation yesterday about how they have literally nothing for Drew McIntyre right now because of Jeff Hardy's exit. I mean, Drew McIntyre is suffering badly on SmackDown. So if they want to go this route and have Drew and Sheamus, form a tag team, I mean, obviously it'll work, but, I don't know if this is really like their future plans. I know, Benjamin, poor Drew. I mean, you could see it. Jeff exited. Look, you can't put it on Jeff. I mean, Jeff has got to worry about Jeff. But Drew McIntyre has been suffering badly because of this. Cesaro and Ricochet over the Viking Raiders and Los Lotharios. We had Happy Corbin over Rick Boogs. And in the main event, Charlotte Flair retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship, beating Sasha Banks. So that was your Tampa show. Not a bad card. Your Madison Square Garden show, and I'll give you a little news tidbit. This has to do with AJ Styles and Omas. I'll tell you that in a second. Tonight, last night at Madison Square Garden, Finn Balor over T-Bar. The Alpha Academy beat Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Tommaso Ciampa retained the NXT Heavyweight Championship, defeating Pete Dunne. Natalya beat Nikki Ash. Rhea Ripley then beat Natalya. There's the storyline. Remember the storyline we talked about? Rhea Ripley's winning. Nikki Ash is losing. Nikki Ash going to get very, very PO'd about Rhea Ripley in the very near future, especially when they lose that rematch. Randy Orton and Riddle beating the Mysterios and the Street Profits. That was a steel cage match for the tag titles. You had Damien Priest over the Miz to retain the United States Championship. AJ Styles over Omas, hold that thought. And Edge beating Kevin Owens in a steel cage. Now, Kevin Owens tonight on Raw, when he cut his promo, he said he won last night in Madison Square Garden, but then he said, you don't even have to look it up. That's because if you look it up, you'll find out that he really did lose at Madison Square Garden. Kevin Owens, I don't know if you all feel it, but he's cutting millionaire promos right now. I mean, Kevin Owens has always been awesome on the mic, but doesn't it feel like the last 2 weeks that he is invigorated? When you got all those Shelton Benjamins in your pocket making millions, I'm not saying he didn't make millions before, but getting an increase in salary, I think he is freaking on fire right now. Yeah, Kevin Owens is awesome. I mean, even a little psychological things, he has the match with Bobby Lashley, and Lashley puts the hurt lock on him and he immediately taps because he doesn't want to get hurt. He doesn't want to be in pain. He's like, fuck the match. I'll just tap out and walk away. Lashley's like, huh? What just happened? Smart. Kevin Owens, I'm telling you, he has a little bit of creative control of what he says out there and little gestures he does in the ring. And it shows. That guy, I'm telling you, obviously not anytime soon, But when it's time for Kevin Owens to retire, man, he's going to be an awesome freaking trainer for the Stars of Tomorrow, wherever he wants to work, whether it's WWE, AEW, Indies, have his own wrestling school. Kevin Owens is going to be a future mega coach. Oh, you know how awesome it'll be for young Stars of Tomorrow to be training under the tutelage of Kevin Owens. It's going to be pretty cool, but not anytime soon, obviously. So those were your house shows over the weekend. Now, AJ Styles and Omas. Get focused back on Raw again. Yes, Kevin Owens is the man, psycho. And by the way, much love to everyone who is here live tonight and those on the replay. If you enjoyed tonight's show, smash that like button. You'd be surprised how much that does help. It does. It really does. AJ Styles and Omas. We were supposed to get that match tonight. AJ comes out and cuts a promo. Get a little recap from last week. He's talking about he's got 20 years under his belt in Omas, and talking a little smack to Omas. Omas, nowhere to be found today on the screen. Well, yesterday they fought in Madison Square Garden. So don't immediately think that Omas may have a health issue. Few of my viewers out there who live in my neck of the woods went to the Garden yesterday. And I want to thank Mike, Jose, and Miguel, who all emailed me about some of the tidbits from the show yesterday. And 2 of the 3 said the same thing, that AJ Styles and Omas needs some work. Not as good as I think people thought it was going to be. So, if you see that tonight we were supposed to get AJ Styles for Omas, then it was supposed to be AJ Styles and Commander Aziz. We go to commercial break, we come back, and Apollo Crews. Commander Aziz is dressed like Apollo Crews in the ring. We get Crews versus AJ Styles instead, and the explanation is that Aziz was going to have the match, and then Apollo Crews like, no, I want to face AJ instead. So AJ and Omas, they got a little bit of work to do. So we'll see what happens. Sticking with the AJ Apollo Crews match, easily my favorite match of tonight. Enjoyed it tremendously. I don't know if any of you out there got very, very nervous at the end of that match. AJ Styles, I think Jimmy Smith even said, Corey, you jumped like 12 feet back in your chair. There was one moment that I think AJ Styles was within inches of landing on his neck, on his head. It looked scary. Then, right after that spot, he tried to put Apollo Crews in a Styles clash, and he stumbled a little bit and then got him and just did the move like rapido. And man, I tell you, for that 15 to 20 seconds of the match, a little bit on pins and needles there. That was a little scary. As far as the attendance at Madison Square Garden, Chaos, I'll be honest with you, and this, I swear, is not to defend WWE in any way. And I want people really, seriously, because I know some people out there, they'll take a picture of section 404 that has like very few seats. You know what's weird? You see people that will post a picture, but for some reason their camera only has one picture left on their roll of film. And I know I'm saying an outdated reference. Like, if you're in the building and, it's a digital camera, you could take 1 million photos. You could just erase them after. You notice how they'll just take one picture? They don't take picture of this section, this section, this section, this section, or, God forbid, they have the technology, maybe 5 seconds of video. They don't do that. So when I see the one picture, I ignore it. But I'll say this, and this is somebody who lives here in New York. Number one, New York has got a crazy amount of Omicron cases right now. In fact, I think New York represents 1/4 of all the COVID cases in the United States. 1/4. So I guarantee there's a lot of people that are like, I'm not going to the garden and being around all these people, even if I am vaccinated. So a lot of people stood home because of that. Number two, it's the day after Christmas. I spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with family and friends. When I came home the 26th, I was pretty much vegging all day yesterday till it was time to do the show. I didn't want to go out last night. I didn't. I guarantee you there's some people who may have had a little bit too much eggnog the day before, and they're like, I don't want to go to the garden. Number three, has anybody paid any attention to what's going on crime-wise here? You look around 34th Street, right near the garden, and there's homeless people all over the place. There are people trying to rob people. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me the other day that he was in the city and some homeless guy tried to steal a bag from someone, and the bag ripped and everything fell on the floor, and there was a cop on the corner, and the homeless guy just went like this and went on the ground. Like they all know they're getting arrested, and then they get released 6 hours later. You take, crappy weather, you take Christmas, you take COVID, and you take crime. Christmas, COVID, crime. Triple C. Of course you're only going to get 5,000 people at the garden. I mean, am I really saying anything that doesn't make sense? Anyway, programming note, since I got you here, programming note. There's not going to be a show Thursday night. I'm sorry. And the only reason why is because Friday, New Year's Eve, I will be here. So instead of the show being Thursday, we are going to do it Friday. I will be here New Year's Eve starting at 10 o'clock, and we will have a fun New Year's Eve. In fact, if you heard the calls yesterday and how uplifting they were, I'm going to drink. I'm going to eat pizza. Even though I'm on keto, we're going to yap it up and maybe shoot some streamers. So I'm going to be on New Year's Eve. Stream is going to start at 10, and then we'll stay on until maybe like 12:30, 1 a.m. So yes, New Year's Eve, I will be here. So instead of Thursday this week, I'll be on Friday. Second is Saturday. Instead of doing the Don Tony show, Saturday will be a day one pay-per-view recap. So I'll be here live on Saturday, right after WWE Day One. So Friday and Saturday, you got a show, and then we'll play it by ear with Sunday. Sunday we'll probably do one too. So, all right. So getting back to Raw, we had Riddle and Orton and the Alpha Academy eat up 30 minutes of Monday Night Raw. And look, man, Riddle and Orton, I think it's safe to say, are two stars that people definitely are paying to see. They are the most over on Raw. I mean, some other wrestlers get monster pops, don't get me wrong, but Riddle and Orton, they just love it. And again, the weird thing that's going on right now with Raw, and it happens on Smackdown too, is back during the Attitude Era. And I think some people understand what I mean when I say this, especially during the Attitude Era. When we saw the product on television, it felt like the product was designed for the televised viewers at home. And the fans that were there live were there to enjoy the ride, if you understand what I mean. Now, what it feels like is that the shows are more designed for the live fans at Raw, and we're at home watching it and enjoying the ride. I don't know if anybody else feels that, but I certainly do. It is flip-flopped because Randy Orton and Riddle tonight was about 15 minutes of gaga. I mean, he comes out, Riddle, and he wanted to find his inner viper self. He started turning green. He started growing scales. Randy Orton, a little comedy, you should go see a doctor. And they're interrupted by Chad Gable and Otis. And Chad Gable talks about having a master's degree with a 4.0 GPA. I'm looking down because I took some notes. Insulted the Detroit crowd. And Riddle wants Chad Gable. Randy Orton has Otis. So those two matches are coming up. Riddle also has a gift for Randy. So this is about 15 minutes of gaga. So we get a fun match. Riddle beats Chad Gable. And Randy Orton beats Otis. Randy Orton hits the RKO on Otis as well. Now, Riddle, as soon as he beat Chad Gable, Otis attacked him to get the attention off of the fact that Chad Gable just lost. We go to commercial, we come back, and Randy Orton takes on Otis, beats Otis, hits the RKO. And now Riddle wants to give Randy a gift. Riddle had a card for Randy, and all he wants from Randy is a hug. And Riddle is like, come on, Randy. No one will know. I won't tell anybody. Come on, Randy. And then the fans are chanting, Randy, Randy. And Randy Orton is being a little reluctant. Then all of a sudden, nice hug, crowd cheering. Randy Orton trolling Riddle for a second, teasing that he was going to give him the RKO. And Riddle flinched. And Randy's like, I gotcha. They have another hug. And this is, like I say, this is designed to please the live audience. And we're home going along for the ride, where back in the day it was the opposite. And again, you're not going to see, and this is why I don't ever like comparing AEW, WWE. They're both wrestling, but that's pretty much it. You're not going to see a segment like that on AEW. It might be a commercial break. It might be something for the live fans. When Tony Khan gave a stunner to, what was it, Sean Spears that time? Like, they do little skits, but it's not meant for the televised product for the most part. This is designed more for like family, entertainment, kids, the holidays. Riddle's innocent character, people eat it up. This was a fun 30 minutes, and you could tell that they were eating up time. They were definitely eating up some time tonight. But, the fans enjoyed it. Then you have an interview segment with Kevin Patrick and Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens calls him Bert. I guess he was talking about Bert and Ernie. And again, Kevin Owens, the last couple of weeks on freaking fire. Every little thing about Kevin Owens is top shelf right now. Some people feel that Kevin Owens is being a little bit overpaid right now. I disagree. You're $1 billion company. See, okay. I got this keyboard right here. If you're a billionaire, you might buy a keyboard that has gold-plated keys. I know that sounds nuts, but there are people that will do that. You buy little trinkets for your bathroom. You might get it where there's actual gold. My point is that when you're $1 billion company and you're managing your money very well and you got record profits, yeah, you can overpay on the wrestlers that are bringing it. I don't want to single out any wrestlers who have been released, but I ask you, If you were going to pay $3 million for wrestlers, would you rather take that $3 million and give it to 5 to 7 mid-carders that are chasing a 24/7 title, or get no momentum whatsoever, or not clicking, even if it is WWE's fault? Or do you turn around and you take it for someone that could eat up 1/6 of a 3-hour show, or wrestle a cage match impromptu against Edge? You know, everything that he does, Kevin Owens is earning his pay right now. So we get another vignette for Veer Mahan. And look, everybody, I know WWE and their social media send Veer. It's fun, but it's a little disturbing. I know the phrase that a lot of people came up with, send Hook. Now WWE wrote tonight, send Veer. And people are actually writing news articles that WWE's trolling Hook. Please, I'll give you my P.O. box address. Please ship me whatever drugs you're on. Schmutzkopf. Welcome to the family. Schmutzkopf. Much love. By the way, for all my channel subscribers, do not forget, on New Year's Eve, I am going to be doing a couple of contests. One of our channel members is going to win. Wait. We can take Riddle and Randy off. Someone is going to win the AEW Upper Deck card of CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole. Yes, I do have them on hand. Someone else is going to win both of these photos. Yes, we're giving away 2 tonight, but on Friday, Sean O'Hagan, 17, welcome to the family. Someone on Friday is going to win both Steve Austin and The Undertaker autograph photos. You're going to get exactly what you see. And someone else Friday is going to win this Bobby Lashley MVP dual signed photo. It does have the WWE hologram on the other side for the certificate of authenticity. So that is for our channel members. So if you're a channel member, just go to the community section. You'll see the post and you'll get the instructions on how to play. So there you go. Mixed tag match. Dana Brooke and Reggie over Tamina and R-Truth. Match wasn't even 3 minutes. And you know Tamina, usually a heel, R-Truth, babyface. You knew that dynamic was not going to work. Reggie gets the pin on R-Truth. Tamina's pissed off afterwards. You know, it is what it is. I mean, even before they started doing these skits with Reggie and Dana, you'll remember that I said, I have a feeling they're going to hook them up in a storyline. And, you know, maybe Reggie, you know, just spoils her. Then we might get teased a little romantic scene. You know, obviously it probably would have been good if they did like a little mistletoe thing and he could have, when she closed her eyes, but she's got to be laying down. And then he just goes like this. Pins her. A la Briscoe to Crash Holly. Yeah, Veer, man. I mean, they did another one of those freaking... Look, man, I know sometimes I take credit for stuff, you know, and deservingly so, and sometimes not deserving. But you got to give me credit. I saw that 6-7 weeks ago that they were going to turn this Veer Mahan stuff into Emelina. And you know what's pretty pathetic about it? There's a lot of people out there who will email or DM me and say, why did you splice Emelina's music or Emma's music with Veer Mahan? They don't even, or weren't even wrestling fans to realize what happened with the making of Emelina or the rebuilding of Emelina all those weeks. And then she showed up and then they sent her back. You know, so the Veer Mahan stuff, if I was Veer Mahan, do you realize the pop he's going to get when he comes out? It's going to be really curious, man. Maybe they put him on Miz TV. All right. So Reggie and Dana Brooke beat Tamina and R-Truth in a mixed tag match. Not much there. Megan Morant interviewing Nikki Ash, and Nikki Ash basically saying, look, last week she was barred from ringside, and asking her, how did you feel that you were barred from ringside? And Nikki's like, she won. She didn't need me. Carmella and Zelina trying to split them up, but it made them stronger. And she wants her and Rhea Ripley to take on the tag champs one more time for the tag belts. I'm going to be curious if maybe Rhea Ripley tells Nikki, like, I don't really want to go for the titles. I'm focused now on Becky or something else. I don't know if they'll go that route, but it'd be interesting if Rhea declines or is a little reluctant about teaming up again. And then maybe that makes Nikki Ash snap. But she issued the challenge, Nikki, and Carmella later on accepted. We don't know when that match will go down. Who said that? Crazy Shem says he disagrees. He thinks the fans will not care when Veer Mahan debuts. I'm telling you, you know what? You know what we need? We need someone who's going to go live at Raw. I mean, there's not going to be any many weeks left. Veer is going to debut very shortly. Somebody's got to hit record on their camera. And when they're about to get a main event match, record. I want to hear the crowd reaction for the main event match. Well, actually, you know what? We might see a little bit of it when Veer comes out, because on main event, he is wrestling. So, but usually they'll either show the person already in the ring, or, they block out some of the noise. I'm curious if Veer is getting a big pop. I'm going to go check out main event this week to see. Andre Green, much love, my friend. Happy holidays to you as well. Street Profits beating Dominic and Rey Mysterio today to win the 4-team RK Bronament. So at day one, we will have Randy Orton and Riddle, RK Bro, defending the Raw Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. It was a fun match. Dominic, I don't know, it was an off night for Dominic. I think we'll all agree on that. Montez Ford just amazes me with his athletics. Fun little match. Wish it would have went a little bit longer, but did what it needed to do. And, I got a kick out of, I just closed it. No fear. I got a kick out of Riddle and Orton in the back watching the match. They know that they are must-see TV on right now. And I'm telling you, man, really appreciate Randy Orton, because, he wants to stick around for several more years. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. And I'm not talking about death. I'm not saying that. But, an injury, anything, something could pop up, something could happen. A freak incident could happen. And his career could be, in jeopardy. So anytime they're out there, really enjoy it. Enjoy it. I mean, if they have a segment that sucks, we'll criticize it, obviously. We had a very long video package hyping up Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for day one. We talked about that in detail yesterday with the Paul Heyman storyline. Obviously, Paul Heyman will be a factor in this match. If there was any really good thing to come out of Raw tonight, is, yes, we were overloaded with video packages, no question. But every time one of these video packages went off, it was an alert to you that match is still on. Match is still on. I'm not going to lie. As we got later with Raw tonight, I was getting a little bit worried that we might not get Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. They waited until very late in the show to view their video package. But the match is still on. So as they were going through, the matches are all still on, which is great. It was great. AJ Styles versus Omas didn't happen, like we said earlier. AJ Styles, I don't know if anybody thought about this. Is AJ Styles now being turned babyface to compensate for the fact that Jeff Hardy is gone? Yes, AJ Styles is on Raw. Yes, Jeff Hardy was on SmackDown. But house shows are commingled. And WWE obviously wants one of those veteran wrestlers, that could still do it, that is still very respected by the crowd. And it almost feels like with Jeff Hardy's exit, that could have been part of the reason why AJ Styles and Omas was split. We need that one veteran babyface that can still really go in the ring. And I'm not saying that Randy Orton can't go, but you look at AJ Styles' offense and you look at Randy Orton, it's a little bit different. Finn Balor's his career is nowhere near over. So I think it's too soon to put Finn Balor in that position. Remember what I said last week? When WWE is starting to use the V word with Finn Balor, and V not as in Veer, but in veteran, take note of that. Because WWE, when they start labeling people veterans while they're still active, it usually equates in a lot of losses. So, Benjamin, I can't weigh the respect value of AJ Styles compared to Jeff Hardy. But it almost feels like AJ Styles has been put in that position. And that's not a bad thing. He could still go at an elite level. But WWE will be careful with AJ Styles. I mean, he is still very, very valuable. And tonight he had an excellent match with Apollo Crews, as I said earlier. Couple of really, I don't want to say scary moments, but a couple of moments towards the end of that match that really got you a little nervous, which is weird because if you remember, Jeff Hardy, when he started to get a little bit of a run, during the Thunderdome, remember he would have those spots in the corner by the steps. Remember we were like, so now AJ Styles may be replacing Jeff Hardy as that veteran, high-flying babyface. And he now has a couple of moments today. It's like, but he gets the win. Commander Aziz, and I know I might be a little bit rough, might be unfair what I'm about to say. Did you all see Commander Aziz at the very end of that match after Apollo Crews won? You know me. I am a stickler to detail. And when you are the creme de la creme, the biggest wrestling company in the world, everybody has off days and everybody makes mistakes. But if you go back and you watch it, honestly, if that continues, I seriously would get rid of Commander Aziz. I would have him split from Apollo Crews and let him start getting jobbed out like crazy. If you missed it, go back and watch it. Basically, what happened was after Apollo Crews lost, Commander Aziz hit the ring and AJ Styles rolled out. No problems there. Part of this is at the fault of the cameramen, the production. Part of it is their fault, no question. They had the wrong camera angle, and you have Aziz and Apollo Crews in the ring, and the referee is outside the ring, comes back to the apron, and he's yelling something at Commander Aziz, trying to get his attention. And as soon as I saw it, I said, oh, okay, somebody's going to show up. Don't know if it's Omas or somebody else, but somebody's going to show up. The next thing you know, AJ Styles hits the phenomenal forearm on Commander Aziz. He hits the move. He's back in the ring. Commander Aziz gets floored from the phenomenal forearm. He's on the opposite side of the ring. If you've been following my shows for like 15 years, you remember how angry and how many times I brought up that horrendous moment with Vladimir Kozlov when they were in the Elimination Chamber. He was feuding with Triple H big time, and he got eliminated from the Elimination Chamber. And when he walked out of the chamber, he walked right past Triple H. It looked horrible on TV. It was so freaking bad. And tonight reminded me of that Kozlov moment. Aziz gets knocked on his ass for the phenomenal forearm. And AJ Styles is still in the ring. The next thing you know, Cruz is on this side of the ring. AJ Styles is on this corner. The next thing you know, Aziz is back in the picture and he like stumbles to the other side of the ring right in front of AJ Styles. And AJ Styles tried to cover it up by throwing a punch or two. But this blubbering idiot, it is so freaking embarrassing. You got to go see it for yourself. You're going to be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? What the hell's wrong with you? He got knocked on his ass. You roll out of the ring, you stand the other side. He actually like fumbled back on the opposite side right in front of AJ Styles. It was almost like, hey, how you doing? Oh my God, go look at it. Yeah, John, that's all we needed. We just need him to say double E. It was not good. It was not good. So AJ Styles gets the win. Now, one moment that came out of this that is very, very interesting. We had an appearance by this man, Grayson Waller. Now, people are wondering, wait a minute, is Grayson Waller now a part of the Raw roster? This may actually be the case, and I'll tell you why. For those that missed Raw tonight, Grayson Waller, remember last week AJ Styles was on NXT 2.0, which I thought was phenomenal, pun intended. Tonight, Grayson Waller shows up at Raw, and he wants to see, what Raw is all about. AJ Styles up close by. He doesn't attack AJ or anything like that, but he's there. Now, if you didn't see it on social media, WWE's Twitter account today wrote, Grayson Waller, welcome to Raw. Now, does that mean just for tonight, welcome to Raw? Or does that mean welcome to Raw? You'd be surprised how many people online think that Grayson Waller might now be a member of the Raw roster. And I got news for you. That might be a good idea, and I'll tell you why. He attacked Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano is obviously taking a sabbatical. His wife is going to give birth in February. They are preparing for their first child. He is resting, relaxing. And Grayson Waller has no feuds going on right now. You can't keep having Braun Breaker or others basically, the best they could come up was, wow, Grayson Waller, that's fucked up what you did to Johnny. That's fucked up. Like, yeah, maybe you do it for the first week, but now there's week after week going by and it seems like there's nothing going on. A lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people really think Grayson Waller has a tremendous future in WWE. I will be honest with you. Right now, I don't see it. I'm not saying that he's not talented, and I'm not saying that he's not bad on the mic, but I don't see that quality that stands out where I'm like, whoa. Austin Theory. Anybody's been following my shows for the last 2 years. I have been singing high praise for Austin Theory for a long, long time. Austin Theory had it. Carmelo Hayes. Been singing the praise since he debuted in NXT. I don't see that yet with Grayson Waller. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious. Look, in the comment section, and this is not a ploy. I read everybody's feedback. In the comment section, let me know what you think after the show is over, how you feel about Grayson Waller. And look, if you don't like NXT and you're huge behind AEW, don't write he sucks simply because you're not an NXT fan. Tell me the truth. What do you think of the guy? Because right now I don't see it yet. I don't see this insane potential. I hope I'm wrong. Kevin Owens with another promo. Remember, he was in the back with Bert earlier. Now he's in the ring. And he's talking about day one. And he's talking about him and Seth Rollins are like this right now. Earlier, we had the little promo of Seth Rollins from his house. He will be good to go for Saturday. And Kevin Owens, when talking about Bobby Lashley, he gets interrupted by MVP. And, they're still teasing the possibility of Lashley and MVP splitting, which I hope does not happen. But MVP's cutting a promo with Kevin Owens. Next thing you know, the Hurt Business music hits. Shelton and Cedric come out. Now, remember, earlier we had Shelton Benjamin wrestle a main event. So you knew Shelton wasn't getting in a ring for another match. So they basically are jaw-jacking with Kevin Owens. Obviously, this was done, because they're a little short-staffed tonight. We end up getting a 3-minute match where Kevin Owens beats Cedric Alexander, and after the match is over, he hits a stunner on Shelton as well. And that's how we lead into the pay-per-view. Damien Priest versus Dolph Ziggler. One too many DQs. One too many disqualifications. He snaps. He gets angry. A lot of wrestlers do. A lot of wrestlers over the years, Tito Santana was one when I was a kid, even though I was never a big Tito Santana fan. That Latin fire. This looks goofy. Damien Priest is a badass. He's had an awesome 2021. But, if you're going to lose it and all you're doing is just hitting someone in the corner and the referee's counting to 5 and you don't pay attention to it, you get disqualified. They're doing it one too many times. They have done this a few times now where Damien Priest gets so angry, he doesn't listen to the ref and he gets disqualified. It was not very good today. The match was fine, but we end up with a spot in the corner. Damien Priest doesn't answer the ref's count. He gets disqualified. Crowd was booing it out of the building. And they got to stop that shit. Seriously. Damien Priest, and let's also hope we don't get dumb skits where he's going to anger management classes. But I didn't like that at all. Didn't like it at all. Then we get the video package with Becky Lynch and Liv. So that match is still on as of now. And then we get the segment, renewing of wedding vows. Maryse, beautiful, obviously. Booed out of the building by the fans once again. Some legit emotions between the two because they do truly love each other. They are married. And, this is probably footage for Miz and Mrs. Eric Bischoff is officiating it. And there was one moment during this that I laughed. And I loved it. Simple little thing. Now, Miz, when he is giving his little speech to Maryse, he's trying to talk in French. He ends up talking in Spanish and Cuban and other languages. And Maryse is like, just talk English. So he says what he says. And then Eric Bischoff basically says something like, you know how these end. Is there anybody out there, that has any objections? Otherwise, forever hold your peace. Oh, we know how this ends. Edge's music hits. Edge comes out, big pop. He says that, he's there to embarrass Miz. Then Edge is looking down the rampway to tease that somebody's coming out. Nobody comes out. He's playing mind games with Miz. And this is where I honestly thought we were going to see Beth Phoenix, but we did not get her. Instead, as we opened up with this show, Edge, basically saying, I hope you didn't want a white wedding. The lights go down and we hear the Broods music, and Miz and Mrs. making sure, Miz and Maryse making sure they're in the right position in the ring. Edge leaves the ring. Bischoff is still in the corner, so Bischoff got it a little bit. And then we get the chocolate syrup from the rafters. No blood. It looks like chocolate syrup. And they sold it well. And that's how we're going into day one. Edge says on day one, I'm going to kick your ass. So, yeah. So that's it. That's what we had for Raw tonight. Fun little show. Again, WWE, I know this is unpopular to say, but WWE took a lot of precautions the last couple of days to protect their wrestlers that are in high-profile matches for Saturday's pay-per-view. And that should be commended in some ways. I know it's not a popular thing to give props to WWE in any way, but they obviously took measures. I didn't hear fans really complain at either house show, like, all these subs, these no-shows. I think people understand what's going on. Would you rather have Thunderdome again? Do you want Deli Man to return and go to Thunderdome? I don't think we want Thunderdome again. So, they took precautions, and that was the right thing to do. So it was not a bad show. Not a bad show. No, Charlie, Seth's tweet yesterday was Merry COVID Christmas to me because he got hit with COVID. But he is okay, and he is good to go. And again, if you all did not hear what we talked about last night, Sunday night, about the situation as it broke, just go to the episode from yesterday, the Don Tony Show, and just look for the timestamp and check it out. It's about 15 minutes worth of content during that show. Everything we said yesterday ended up being true. We kept it in perspective. Give it a chance to get the truth. And too many people either jump the gun, or force the narrative just to get hits. So, all right. So that was the episode of Raw. So very quickly, because I want to start bringing this home, because tomorrow on Patreon, now for my Patreon family, as of right now, Mish is up in the air. He is still dealing with fever. I don't know when he's getting tested for COVID. I'm hoping if he got Omicron that, the fever broke today, and, maybe by the time he gets tested, he's not positive. Now, we're not saying that he has COVID. I mean, it could just be the flu, but he really was not feeling good today at all. So I don't want to force him to come on tomorrow, but I will be doing a Patreon show tomorrow regardless. I will talk to Miz. I'll talk to Mish. The other day I called him Mitch by mistake. I know the guy for 15 years, maybe more. I never ever made mistakes with his name. Now I call him Miz and Mitch. I'll ask Mitch how he's feeling tomorrow, and we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to mention the passing of Marcus Crane. I know a lot of you out there who are fans of GCW. That is where you know Marcus, wrestled in a lot of death matches. Of all the pictures that I saw of him, this one I really got a kick out of the most. Just him laying there, thrown through the guardrail. He died at the age of 33. Now, unfortunately, he's had a rough past couple of years. He had a really scary head injury a couple of years ago. He battled his demons too. I don't want to speculate on cause of death, but I did have a few people that know him pretty well tell me that he died in his sleep. So I don't want to spin any controversy there. Of all the tributes that were put out there, I'll put his banner back up in a second. I really appreciated Chris Hero. Chris Hero wrote some very, very eloquent words about Marcus Crane, and I want to share them with you. Chris Hero said, and I quote, "I first met Marcus Crane in the mid-2000s. He'd come to shows in Rock Island, Illinois, and you could just tell how much he loved wrestling. Marcus broke into wrestling in the Midwest, and in 2009, he moved out to Pennsylvania to live with Chris Hero and train more extensively. Marcus was incredibly creative, driven, gregarious. He made friends wherever he went. He was so proud that he got to wrestle in Japan, and even more so because he was in a main event tag at Korakuen Hall versus Jun Kasai. Just look at how happy he was in the photos. I was terrified when he had his head injury. He couldn't walk. He couldn't talk, but he battled his way back after months of grueling work. We often spoke about getting together and catching up. I really wish we would have. I loved that guy, and I was so proud of him. Marcus was back home working to stay sober and to become a better person. Please remember that. My heart mourns for everyone connected to this, his family, his friends, his fans. I will miss our talks, his laugh, his smile. I'll miss my friend. Love you, Marcus. Rest in peace." So, yeah, we close out 2021 with another unfortunate death. So, I know by looking at some of your comments, Marcus was known by a lot of you. Again, there is a whole world of wrestling out there that is not WWE and AEW. If WWE doesn't float your boat, you're not the biggest AEW fan, there is no reason why you don't check out some of these other promotions. I know Marcus is not a household name, but again, there's quite a few of you out there that I see every week. Not thrilled about WWE, not thrilled about AEW, that wrestling isn't what it used to be, but don't even give a lot of these other promotions a chance. Now, look, not everybody's into deathmatch. I'm not a big fan of deathmatch. But there's quite a few of you out there that remember him, knew him, and liked him. So, and sadly, a lot of websites and shows out there aren't even going to acknowledge him. Or they'll do the cut and paste. We are deeply saddened to learn of the passing of Marcus Crane at 33 years old. On behalf of ProWrestlingAsshole.com, we wish his family, friends, we offer to his family, friends, and fans our condolences and our deepest sympathy. In simple English, we don't give a shit. We're just writing it because we have to. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Rest in peace, Marcus Crane. Rest in peace. I think we're almost done. Oh, let's do the contest. I forgot. Hey, at least we're not at 2 hours. All right, let's do the contest. All right, very quickly. Last week, what did we do last week? It was hashtag, I got to look at the comments from last week. Let me check out the comments for a second. Last week, we did hashtag, hold on, hashtag Undertaker, and hashtag Austin. There we go. Now, somebody right now is going to win autograph photo of Steve Austin. Someone else is going to win an autograph photo of The Undertaker. And then someone else is going to win. Well, actually, 10 of you are going to win the CM Punk AEW Upper Deck cards. I've already shipped out a lot of the prizes from last week. In fact, some of you already got it. WWE Smackdown Yard, welcome to the family. Smackdown Yard, welcome to the family. I know some of you are saying that my voice sounds a little strained today. I have no COVID symptoms. Do not worry. But I think I've been talking a little bit too much the last couple of days, and you could hear that my voice is a little strained. So let's do the contest. Let's pick the winners. And again, you don't have to be live to claim your prize, but you got to claim it within 7 days. Because, if it's not claimed, I got to give it to someone else. So what I'm going to do, to be fully transparent, I am now, if you look on your screen, and for those on audio only, even if you're checking out audio and entered anyway, I will read the names. So on the screen right now is a screenshot from last week's show. As you can see, I'm playing with my mouse. I'm going up and down. Okay. So at least you know this is from now. So what I am going to do in the left-hand corner, there is a program called Pick a Winner. So now what it's going to do is, last week, anybody that entered to win the Steve Austin photo, you posted a comment, and then somewhere in your comment, you put hashtag Austin. So now I am going to click the green button that says pick a winner. The program is going to scan all the comments from last week that also had hashtag Austin. And the first person that it picks wins the photo. If you win and you don't want the prize, let me know so I can give it to someone else next week. If you want to give it to someone else, you can do that as well. You want to sell it, throw it away, I don't care. And this is open to everyone. So congratulations goes out to Matty P. Much love, Matty P. And remember, one prize per person winner. You can't win multiple prizes. Not fair to others. But Matt P, he gets the autographed Steve Austin photo. So congrats to him. So now I will go back into the program, and we will now put hashtag Undertaker. The first person that comes up wins the Undertaker photo. Congratulations goes out to James Pasco. He wins the Undertaker photo. And now we pick 10 of the Steve Austin cards. Now, how this came about last week was at the very end of the show. Since so many of you hung around, at the very end of the show, I said, for those that still stuck around, if you put hashtag DT, my initials, Don Tony, DT, that you could be in a contest to win the Steve Austin card. I don't know how many of you entered for the Steve Austin card, because not everybody tunes into the whole show. But I figured for those that did stick around for the whole show, a little extra contest. So now we're going to pick 10 winners for the CM Punk AEW cards. And if we don't have 10, I think we do. But if we don't have 10, then we will just give it to everybody. Matt Anderson, welcome to the family, Matt. Much love. So anyway, winner number 1, Chris L. And I'm writing them down to make sure we don't have a duplicate winner. So Chris L. is the first winner of the the CM Punk card. James Young is the winner of the second CM Punk card. Congrats to Puffy89. He is winner number 3. Congrats to David Schneider. He is winner number 4. The 5th winner is Tom. I know Tom. I know his logo. So congrats to Tom. James Young already got one. Kevin Milwaukee, congrats to you. How many are we up to now? We're up to 2, 4, 6. So we have 4 more. Prize number 7. Okay. Gary Vaughn, Congratulations to Gary Vaughn. Gary Vaughn is prize number 7. We got 3 more. Dorian Mesa. Dorian Mesa, he wins the 8th CM Punk card. 2 more. 2 more. Justin Bali. Congrats to Justin Bali. He gets the CM Punk card. And finally, the last winner, BJ. BJ. Damn you with your international shipping. Damn you. I'm joking. Congrats. Congrats. Let's take this off the screen. So all you got to do now is just email me, dontony@dontony.com, or you could DM me on Twitter. If you're a channel member, you could, reach me through the channel members as well. And I'll ship out your card. Just send me your address. And again, look, if anybody won and you want to give it to someone else, just let me know where I should ship it and I'll ship it. So, all right. So with that said, do we have anything else? Do we have anything else? You know what? Let's look very quickly before we get out of here. Let's check out the current card for WWE Day 1. Now, as far as predictions, I will be up here New Year's Eve. So I guess we'll do predictions New Year's Eve. And the reason why I will do it New Year's Eve is because Smackdown is airing on Friday. There could be a change or two by the time Smackdown airs. I don't want to do predictions now because we still got 4 days, and who knows? God forbid somebody gets hit with COVID. Then things could change. So by Friday with SmackDown, once it goes off the air, I'll be live for the New Year's Eve, and we'll do predictions during that show. So, VJ, I shipped your Scarlet picture a long time ago. I'd have to check the tracking. I'll send you the tracking info, but as quickly as I get IDs, they go out right away. You send me the shipping address, they go out. So anyway, right now, your current card for WWE Day 1 is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. And I will be honest with you, I hope Sami Zayn gets it. It's not Shinsuke's fault, but his IC title reign has been pathetic. 1 titled events, not including Saturday. Edge versus The Miz. Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's Championship against Liv Morgan. RK Bro defending the Raw Tag Team titles against the Street Profits. The Usos defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against King Woods, and Kofi Kingston. Big E defending the WWE Championship against Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley in a fatal 4-way. And Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. Now, I'll tell you the truth. These are not my official predictions, but looking at this card right now and spur of the moment reaction to this, you know how I feel about this card so far? Maybe my mind changes a little bit by Friday. Sami Zayn, I think, gets the IC title. I think Edge defeats The Miz. Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship over Liv Morgan. RK Bro are definitely keeping those tag titles. No reason to take it off for them. I could see the Usos retaining those championships. New Day, no reason to give them the titles right now. Big E will retain the Universal Championship. I think if you take the title off of Big E right now, you will have a lot of people that will call his reign a disappointment. There ain't no way WWE is going to have any member of the New Day labeled a disappointment. So Big E is going to keep that belt. And Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, as of right now, I say Roman Reigns retains because I still think Brock Lesnar is going to win the Royal Rumble and challenge him for WrestleMania. But with this COVID going around, even though, a lot of look, the CDC just cut the days in half, but it's still no joke. This virus is no joke, even if Omicron is, considered weaker than Delta. What if Roman Reigns wants to take some time off while this out of control surge is going on? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but definitely keep that in the back of your mind, because if Roman Reigns really does, because remember, Roman did not compete for a while because of COVID. And when Roman came back, we were in Thunderdome. It's a little bit different now. So, you ask yourself, does Roman maybe want to take some time off because of, the numbers that are coming in with this Omicron? So something to think about. We don't know the answer. Anybody that claims that they do know the answer is lying to you, because the only people that would know is Roman Reigns' family, and WWE management. But that's something to think about. And that's the only reason why I'm not officially doing my predictions right now, because I got to think about that a little bit more. That definitely could be a factor. So, all right, everybody. It's time for me to exit for tonight. Little under 2 hours, but I think we had a great conversation. I mean, obviously, the most important things tonight was Raw, COVID, Rollins, day one, and the passing of Marcus Crane. Tomorrow I'll be on Patreon. We will do an update on the favorite Christmas song and the favorite dessert cocktail, holiday dessert cocktail. We will do questions from our VIP family. I don't know, again, if Mish is going to be on, but I will definitely be on no matter what. If you want to check out our Patreon page, it is patreon.com/DonTony. If you decide you want to check it out, I mean, we have hundreds of Patreon exclusive shows there. I mean, Breakfast Soup, VI Patreon alone, I think we've done like 180 episodes. Then you add, the other shows that are on there as well. There's hundreds of shows that have only streamed on Patreon. So if not, I'll be here Wednesday. We got New Year's Smash for AEW Dynamite. The match is already announced. The Undisputed Era, who is now in AEW, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. Wonder what, any of you have any ideas of what to call them? I know some people think you should just call them Undisputed instead of Undisputed Era. Too close. WWE will sue. Absolutely. Be interesting to see what they call themselves, because they're coming up with a name. But anyway, we have Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. We got Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill in the semifinals for the TBS Women's Championship, the tournament. We have Eddie Kingston teaming up with Santana and Ortiz, taking on Daniel Garcia and 2.0. No word if Jay Lethal will be on. You heard yesterday's show, you know why I'm saying that. And Jim Ross will be returning. Jim Ross, I believe, has had 20 chemos already for his skin cancer on his leg. I think he has to undergo 22. So he probably only has 2 more left. And if my math is correct, test 21 will be Tuesday. Test 22 will be Wednesday. Unless today was 21. Maybe today's 21, because I can't see him getting the 22nd and then hopping on a plane to go to AEW. But then again, I think they're in Florida. And, we'll see. We'll see. But nice to see Jim Ross back to close out 2021. That'll be nice. I think New Year's Smash will be a lot of fun. NXT, I have not checked the previews out yet, but I will watch that on Wednesday afternoon. And the Era, I don't like that. It's a little too bland, the Era. I got to think about that. If any of you have any ideas, post them in the comment section. I'm curious. But I think the Era is a little too bland, unless they use the Elite term. Maybe they could use a form of the Elite Maybe that pisses off the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I'm not saying the Super Elite, because obviously they've used that term already, but be interesting to see if they use a hybrid of the Elite term. Maybe that it factors into the storyline. But all right, everybody, much love as always. It's about 1 a.m. over here, so I'm going to jet out of here. Have a great night. I know this is the last Breakfast Soup Raw, technically Breakfast Soup Raw of 2021. So I will be back next week with Mish. I think he'll be feeling better by then, God willing. And it'll be the first episode of 2022. So everyone, much love as always. I thank you for your support. Absolutely phenomenal. And it's very humbling to see you all just showing all of your support and loyalty to what we do. And that's why I feel I owe it to you to always be straight up and honest and, giving you the facts, try to make you aware. I'd rather be an encyclopedia than a shit stirrer. I'd rather be an encyclopedia than a policeman. I try to give you the information. Whatever you do with it, that's up to you. But I want to thank you all for just an awesome 2021. If you're home New Year's Eve, which I certainly will, stop by for a little while. I'll be going live at 10. I think my fiance will make an appearance at midnight. It's only fair, right? Get a midnight kiss. What did she call me last year? She said, "You bitch," but she was saying it jokingly. So some people last year actually were taken back by like, "She just call you a bitch?" She's like, "I love you, bitch." Oh, that wasn't derogatory. So anyway, I'll catch you all either tomorrow on Patreon or Wednesday Night Dynamite, or Friday for your special New Year's Eve edition of the Don Tony Show. Good night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the hosts. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody, "You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us." But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.